everybody. Hope you're doing alright, but buckle up because today we're diving into a story that's got a bit of everything. Politics, community tension, a big old barracks and hot coffee style opinions flying around. You couldn't bloody make this up. We're talking about plans to house about 300 asylum seekers at the Cameron Barracks in Inverness, Scotland. And the backlash has very much erupted. Yes, that's right. An army barracks turned into what some are calling a migrant base, others call it temporary solutions, and still others saying, hang on, what about the local community? So join me, we're going to unpack what's going on and why it's causing so much anger and maybe some confusion as well. It's a scary world that we live in, true? But don't worry because we're going to find out what's going on starting right now.
Analyzing the news.
Hi mate, you alright? You alright? Okay, so I've been watching the news lately, like I watch it every bloody day, and the reason why I watch it is so you don't have to depress yourself by listening to it, because it is freaking depressing, that is true. Really is, but that's life, isn't it? You've got to get on, you've got to carry on, but it's also very important that you're aware that things do happen in the world. And there's certain things in life that need our attention, one being it, the bloody news, because it affects us every way but loose, every which way but loose. Is that a film? Is that a film? Every which way but loose. I think it's a film from the 80s. But anyway, we're not really talking about that, are we? We're talking about this migrant thing that's going on. So let's have a look. It's a pretty big story, to be fair. And we're going to go into it together, and I'm going to simplify it as much as I possibly can because I'm nice. I'm a nice guy, so I've done a bit of research for you guys, so you don't really have to worry about it. So let's have a look. What is it? What's the big plan? So first up, what are the official plans in regards to the government? Because the government has announced that roughly 300 male asylum seekers will be moved into Cameron Barracks in Inverness, among other sites. So it's not just going to be there, there's going to be other bloody places as well. And this is on a phased basis from December 2025 all the way up to the next 12 months. So let's get some images up for you so you can kind of get a grasp of what Inverness is all about. So Inverness, there you go. It was an army barracks. It's not very pretty, but still, your council tax pays for it, doesn't it? There it is there. There's the soldiers preparing for war to defend the country. And yeah, it's going to be held now for immigration. Now, is that a good thing? Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? We're going to find out what's bloody going on. And yeah, it's a bit complicated, but let's look at the bigger picture. So what is it all about? So the bigger picture is that the two barracks in Inverness and one in East Sussex will take about 900 men. That's a lot. In total. That's what they said. In total, that's all they're taking in total. But after that, yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to take any more. We're just going to take 900 men for now. And he said the aim is to reduce the use of hotels for asylum accommodation because apparently hotels are far too expensive and chaotic. Well, that does make bloody sense, doesn't it? Because they are freaking chaotic. And obviously you're getting all the riots and the people kicking off, hanging around outside the hotels, expressing their opinion. Now, some of them are peaceful, some of people are angry and upset, which is kind of understandable, isn't it, really? Because certain characters have committed horrific crimes and yeah, the community don't feel safe. So I do get that bit, and it is concerning for them, and I do understand that. Like I say, I'm not in that situation at the moment. There is migrant hotels near me, but it doesn't really have a direct effect on me. But I understand other people's perspectives and perceptions of things and how they're experiencing the world around them. So again, 900 men in total as it stands for now, but again, this will inevitably go up. Now, they're saying that the aim is to reduce the use of hotels and asylum accommodation because apparently, again, it's too expensive. And yes, it is. If you're going to do anything in life now, I would suggest that you invest in hotels, because who wants to visit Britain, really? You don't go on holiday to Britain. Well, Brits don't, do they, really? So the hotels are very empty, but they're not now, are they? So the hotel owners are making an absolute bloody fortune because they're fully booked and they're charging full rates, and there you go. So that's it, isn't it? Maybe it's a good industry to get into. So let's have a look. What do you think when you hear military barracks for asylum seekers? What's your thoughts on it? Do you see it as a clever reuse of empty space or something more upsetting? Well, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know, because I'm sharing my opinion or giving you the knowledge. But again, it's your opinion that counts as well, isn't it? Because it affects you as well as it does me and everyone else around us. So why the big change? That's the big one. Why is the big change suddenly happening now? Well, let's have a look. Okay, so why this shift from hotels to barracks? That's the main thing. Why there's suddenly change of all? Well, one reason is cost. The cost of asylum accommodation. Get ready for this. Cost between 4.5 billion and 15.3 billion. Now that was between 2019 and 2025. That is lunacy. Also, hotels have been described by parliamentary committee as failed, chaotic, and far too expensive. But they were bloody doing it for years, weren't they? Deep breath. Deep breath. Let's get some images up. You don't want to see my ugly face, do you? The government says communities don't want asylum seekers housed in hotels, so they're going for larger sites. So yes, economics, public pressure, barracks. But of course, easy to say, but very tricky to pull off, isn't it? It's not going to be a walk in the park, is it? Do you believe that the cost of argument is strong enough to justify the switch, or does it seem like shifting the problem rather than solving it? Share your take on it, guys. I want to know, what are your thoughts? Is it a good idea, or do they continue doing what they're doing, putting asylum seekers in hotels, or should they put them in barracks? But either way, it's going to happen anyway. But it's good to let me know your thoughts. So what are the concerns around this? Because obviously there is big concerns. This is where things get spicy. Locally, the Highland Council says they were only told about the plan just before the public announcement. So the local authority only got told literally 5 minutes before it was on the news. And they had little to say in the process. But they do worry about community cohesion in a relatively small area like Inverness, because Inverness isn't a big place. You do know that, don't you? And it's adding up to 300 single men. Could have a big local impact on housing services, social integration. And some residents say, hang on a minute. A barrack in the city centre near homes and school. We weren't consulted about this. We weren't told. We weren't informed. Nobody told us until I watched bloody the news, and then that's the first time I heard about it. Or maybe now this is the first time you're hearing about it because you don't watch the news. And to be fair with you, I don't bloody blame you, because I try not to. But in order to share information with you, I have to go and have a look for you. Okay, I have to see what's going on outside. Like I said, I don't like watching the news. I hate it. It depresses me. But we have to be informed, don't we? So there are also concerns about suitability for the sites, because historical buildings, as close to neighbours, etc. In short, the locals are saying they feel left out of the decision making, and that the rollout might be too fast and too big. So let's just pause for a second. If you lived in Inverness, how would you feel? Put it in the comments. Do you think local consultation matters that much? Does it matter that the local authority hasn't actually spoke to the people who live there and says, listen, are you happy with this? Are you okay if we do this? Because they haven't, they've just done it. Imagine that, you just bought a bloody brand new house. And I've done this, I've bought a house once in a nice area and I thought, oh, I'm going to live here, happy ever after. And then a couple of days later, the music from the next door neighbours started getting louder. And then I realised very quickly that I was living next to a neighbour from hell, and it was a nightmare. And I couldn't ring the council because if you ring the council, it lowers your property value. So I had to put up and shut up. But believe me, I wasn't living there that long. No, I was out there as fast as I could. It's a big mistake. So whenever I buy a house now, I always drive around that area at night time and at weekends just to get a vibe, get a feel for it, to see what it's like. But imagine that you bought a nice house in a nice area and your neighbours are lovely, and then suddenly you've got 300 men and you don't know who they are and they're living next door to you. Very concerning, and I do get it, and I can understand people's fears and concerns. There it is, can you see it? So let's not forget about people in this. There are asylum seekers, yes, and many arriving from difficult situations, yes. And they're seeking safety, yes. I understand that, I get that. They're being moved into military sites. Some folks say it is a barracks, really, and it's a welcoming place. But are they treated as people or just numbers? Some groups say the more risks that can happen, including re-traumatizing people who have already survived war and persecution, then suddenly get put in a barrack. Is that going to make it worse? Now, the barracks aren't like a prison, to be honest. They're quite posh, to be honest. When I say posh, they're clean. They're not scary. They're not daunting. They're not anything. If anything, they're beautiful because it's historic buildings, aren't they? On the flip side, some locals say if the barracks are empty and people need somewhere to go, then why not? It's a human story as much as policy story. You've got to help thy neighbour. We've got to help people, haven't we? And we will. That's what we do in England. We're very giving. To be honest, we're probably the most... I think we are, aren't we? Because nobody does what we do. But how do you feel about this? How do you think the asylum seekers themselves feel about being placed in barracks? What would you want if you were there? Let me know in the comments. Come on, guys. Let's zoom out a little bit, okay? What does this say about the asylum system? Because the shift to barracks suggests hotels were a stopgap, and now they're saying we need more permanent large-scale sites. What does that mean? What does that mean? I thought they were stopping it. Illegal immigration. I thought they were stopping it, but by the news it's saying no. We're gonna open huge places to accommodate. But why are you accommodating if we're not taking anymore? We're sending illegal immigrations back to their own country. That doesn't make sense, does it really? The shift to the barracks suggests hotels were a stopgap, and now they're saying we need more permanent large site scales. Why? Because their intention isn't very clear on this one, is it? But evidence suggests that barracks may actually cost more than hotels in some cases. I don't know how they work that one out. It depends on the person who's actually charging them. Now, the barracks aren't owned by a private company. They're owned by us, council payers. It puts communities, local councils, national governments and asylum seekers all in a big crosshairs of pressure. When I'm talking, this isn't me saying it from my own opinion. This is the opinion of other people, okay? So don't think it's my story. Don't think I'm making all this up. I'm just telling you. I'm just repeating what's going on. So here's where it gets a bit cheeky. So, you know, when I first heard about military barracks for asylum seekers, I half expected to see people doing push-ups and Up at dawn, maybe sergeant shouting. But no, apparently it's much less dramatic than that, which is fine. It's not the army, it's just a place where they can accommodate them. That said, using barracks does feel like saying hotels were too cozy, so now we're gonna full camp vibes, and it may be practical, but it has drama. Again, this can traumatize someone. If you've ever experienced trauma in your life, this can re-traumatize you. From local viewpoint, if we were in Inverness, I might be thinking, cool scenario. Nice barracks, but will local shops suddenly have 300 more customers? And will I be dodging marching boots on my morning walk? From asylum seekers' viewpoint, I hope it's safe, comfortable and positive. I'd hate to feel like it was going to be some sort of detention centre. But again, that's not what's going to happen. That's not what it's going to be like. It's going to be nothing like that. Okay, time to hand the mic to you. So what do you think? Is housing asylum seekers in barracks a smart move or a mistake? Would you support similar sites in your area? What concerns you the most, including cost, safety, community, coercion, or something else? It all plays a big role, doesn't it? If you like this breakdown, hit the like button, subscribe if you've not already, and share with someone who might raise their eyebrows at the Army Barracks Asylum accommodation. But yeah, thanks for watching and for engaging your part of this conversation. And until next time, guys, I will see you later. But take care and try to enjoy yourself. Life's too bloody short.
Analyzing the news.